Hi, today is Wednesday, and there are two very important things that I learned today. One is distribution channel, and the other one is venture capital. So for distribution channel, it is really a surprise to me because before listening to this keynote, I know nothing about distribution channels, and I hugely underestimated the importance of distribution. So before the keynote, I thought that distribution is just a very tiny part of the business. And if you have really good product, there will be always many ways for you to reach out to customers. And a rough estimation for me is that you probably will only need to spend 20% of your time on distribution. But it turns out that one of the speakers tells us that a company should devote at least 30 or 40% of the time on distribution because customers are in the sales. So if you do not work on distribution, then you have no customers, and when you do not have customers, your company fails. And that is really alarming to me. And then the speaker explained many different types of distribution channels and also gave us tips on how to work on distribution for startups. And that was really insightful. And I learned a lot about the business side of distribution and how to reach a win-win situation with your distributor and how to pick a distribution channels based on the motivation level of the employee, the professional level, and the profit sharing schemes, like how many percent the distributor takes from you. So it was a really interesting keynote. After the keynote on distribution, I listened to another keynote on venture capital. Before listening to this keynote, I only have a rough idea of what venture capital is and how the venture capitalists work. And this speaker is from Stanford, is also working in a venture capital fund. So he explained to us the two ways that venture capitalists make money, which are called carry and management fee. And after explaining each of them, he also introduced us to the questions or the problems that startups usually face in negotiating treaties with venture capitalists. He also kind of introduced to us the mentality or the psychology behind venture capitalists when it comes to making decisions on whether or not to invest. And then he made this interesting scenario for us to really practice negotiation skills, or at least to just get a feel of what it feels like. So he gave us two links. One leads to the situation for the venture capitalist. The other one leads to the situation of the co-founder of the startup. So he asked us to pair up and then read only one of the scenarios, and then we'll start negotiating on behalf of the road that we have assumed. It was really interesting because I was the venture capitalist that was trying to get as many equity as possible with the least amount of money, and my partner is trying to maximize his own interest. So my bottom line is that my fund is willing to pay 2 million for at least 17.5% of equity, and based on this criteria, I raised out a bench. So I was proposing giving out $2 million for 40% of the equity. I think it was a pretty good deal because based on what the speakers told us, the venture capitalists don't really take a majority share of the company in order to give the employees as well as the CEOs more motivation to make this a success. But after the negotiation, we reached an agreement. So I will give the startup 1.5 million in exchange for 30% of equity. I think it's a pretty good deal, but as negotiation finished, the speaker asked us about our deals. So whoever thinks that he has got a pretty good deal can raise up his hand and tell the entire group. And was really surprising for me because I thought that I got a pretty good deal, but it turns out that some people even got better deals. So I paid 1.5 million, but some people paid less than 1 million to get like 60% of equity, which is bloody crazy for me. And after reading the scenario of my friend, I realized it is no surprise that somebody could reach such strange or reach such deals, because the situation for the startups is really bad. And a couple of months ago, they tried to raise money, but was rejected. So this practice really helped me realize how venture capitalists think and how to reach NOPA with ZOPA, which is zone of possible agreement, and how fragile and weak and how fragile a startup is when it doesn't have support of venture capitalist. And I think it's a very interesting practice, and I will look deeper into the presentation, the slides, to learn more, especially the parts that the speaker have to skip before because of the limited time. So that's it.